President Tinubu, my husband is saying that if he calls you for interview, will you agree? I say, I don't care who it is.
Yeah.
I will sit
down with the person.
I will sit down with the person. See, Bobrisky is my most watched interview
Yes.
till date.
Yes.
I didn't make a dime out of it. I did that thing on a dare. He said he's coming for interview. I said, okay, no problem. I was a dare. You can't interview that kind of person. I said, okay, you say you are a woman. Let me touch it and be sure that. And I knew I couldn't do the regular job anymore. When I got home one night and my son was running on the stairs, and at 9 p.m. wearing his uniform, I said, how much am I even getting? Because I love my job.
Do you miss being TV's It girl?
Ooh.
You people and your lack of sense of history
Yeah.
don't know that this woman is one of the pioneers of the modern interviewing tradition. But it does not get frustrating because there is a body of work and there is a legacy.
My final question would be, why did you do this?
You mentioned that you were the you're the first daughter and the fourth child of your mom.
Mom, yeah.
So that means that your dad had other wives?
He did,
Right.
in those days, and the truth is, I didn't even know my other sister until I was maybe 12 or 10 or so. Because my father, straight out of high school, had a daughter. Young man, getting excited. In those days, I'm sure they didn't hate things like abortion. Even if they did, they'd be afraid they would die.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So the lady had the daughter, but she was being raised by her grandmother. Because the girl who had the child had to also still go to school and continue with her life. So somewhere, and we didn't know, growing up, we didn't know until, I think I was 10 or 11, when suddenly she was 21. You say my sister is coming from Lagos because her mother had raised her in Lagos. And it was a natural, because we're used to the kind of family we're in, we're used to having people, not blood. So this is blood. So my mom, just your sister is coming. Yeah. All of us say, oh, she's coming. And then we had the excitement of taking pictures and she moved in. Right. And then she's been with us forever. Yeah. The interesting thing is, her fate has a funny thing. The same thing happened to me.
Okay.
Right? I tell people I have 7 children. I do have 7 children. And one was adopted, not blood. But it's a blood to the extent it's my husband's daughter. Right. My husband had a daughter before he met me. In fact, the girl was in the oven. There was somebody pregnant before he met me. And the first thing he told me when he says, you know what? I'm having a baby. And I'm like, what?
That was the first thing he told you when you met?
Well, not when we met. When you start getting
the first few...
and say, you know what? I'm having a baby. I'm like, wow, who does that? Because I have to be clear with you because I want to marry you. I'm like, but before I marry you, we have to check one thing, your genotype. So my husband is that kind of point blank. I'm sure you've seen him a couple of times.
Yes, of course.
Straight.
Yes. He has taught me too.
Oh, he's one of those.
He taught me at Masters.
It was only in recent times I was telling him, that's one of the reasons I fell in love with you, because you were straight and to the point. Yes. You told me. So I knew that we were expecting a child, even before we saw the child. Right. But circumstances weren't the best. Of course, the mother is not sure. I knew she was raised also by her mother. But because we did all that we could, we were always sending birthday cards, we were always trying to get in touch. But I could understand that the mother wasn't really too, enthusiastic. But they drifted away. They went to the UK, but we stayed in touch. Right. But she came into my children's lives physically at age 17. So, and I imagine she walked into everybody screaming her name, the name we gave her. Right. Her mother gave her a different name. So you see how life prepares you for things, and you never know when you're going to cross a bridge. You know. But my kids were raised to know, and no one would know. And I'm saying this because I want people to understand that no child is responsible for the actions of their parents. Once a life has been given, we have no business. I respect life. You get pregnant, you have the baby. Right? You have the baby, you shouldn't blame the mother or blame the father. It's been done. God has given this life a chance. Right? Now that my daughter has made us a grandmother. Yeah. So I'm happy. Yeah. So that girl, that baby has 2 grandmothers, 2 grandfathers, So apart from the 2 from our side, then 2 from 3. Because her father has his parents are like too.
Yeah. So it's like you say, it feels like somehow your own childhood family dynamic inspired the kind of family you eventually built.
Absolutely.
I remember when you came on New Dawn then, one of the questions that the women were fascinated about was that you were a producer, presenter, you were also working with the NTA, so you had all kinds of other duties.
Yeah, I did.
And you were raising...
At that time, maybe I had all of them.
Yes, I think you had all of them.
Because my last is 22.
Yes, I think you had all of them. Because they were saying you had at least 6 kids at the time.
Yes, I'd gone to the labor room 6 times.
Now it's easier because the spaces have opened up, there are more laws, more sensitization. But I remember then they were shocked at how you could have a flourishing career while taking care of 6 small children.
We have to, even when I say this, please, tongue in cheek, we have to let our kids take more responsibility. I know that my kids, I tell them, I don't think I give you enough responsibility. But now, I respect life. Somewhere along the line in my life, and I became more serious about my faith.
Right.
I was a Baptist, I was raised a Baptist, and we went to church and all of that.
Right.
One of the things my husband told me when we got married was, we're going to marry in the Catholic Church. And I'm like, yeah, why not? It didn't matter to me. We're all Christians and all of that. And I remember him telling me, in fact, I remember that day. That was the Gabriel Oka coup, 1990. The morning, the day before, I'm saying, we'll carry your picking go to church. Make you there. You there. So I said, okay, yeah, well, I'm going to go to church. I want to start going to church. And I went to church. I was coming back, there was a coup.
Right.
And I thought, we were separated, and there was no telephone.
Right.
And he's like, can you imagine, he didn't follow me, carry up, you can go to church. So we made it home, but then life took a different meaning for me. I'm like, life is so, because they blocked the road. We used to live in Ilupeju at that time. Right. And I went to a St. Agnes Catholic Church, which was at Maryland. So I needed to cross and go through the expressway to get back to home. And they had blocked the road. But it was painful and I was scared. I mean, I had only one child then, but I know that I had the sensibility of life is so transient. I left home, anything could have happened, right? But by the time I was having my 3rd child, because we agreed, my husband and I agreed with him, you're not going to have more than 3. You already have a daughter. Right. So I still go, just give me 1 girl, 2 boys. Then we'll have 2. Bikini we never see. 2. And by the time I had my 3rd child, right? And it was a boy, indeed. 1st child, girl. Right. 2nd, I prayed. I know one of those things that you're kneeling there, you're asking God, okay, God, what can I do for you now? You know what I mean? You've given me everything I want and everything. And I know that I heard it very clearly. Be open to life. I say, get out of here. No, get out open to life. Because you see, I know that it's my faith that opened that sensitivity to me. But I didn't have to be open to life. But be open to life. I'm like, gosh, 1 + 2. I mean, I got born. You know what I mean? But it turned out at that same time, God, my favorite Yoruba name is Oluwapamilerin. My picture of God is not a human, no. I don't have, it's just like the wind. I can imagine him constantly laughing at us human beings, just going around, trying to understand him, or trying to not to put him in the picture. Yeah. So I just felt, no, you can't be saying that, And I was hearing that from people, and I'm like, there's no way. But at that point in time, my then favorite brother, still is, who's always been late now, 16 years, right, had been married for about 3-4 years, and they were looking for a baby. And I said, okay, God, let's come to a pact. I will be open to life, right? I'm making this decision without my husband. I'll be open to life, and I'm going to take out all the contraceptives and all of that, and I'm open to life for as long as you bless my brother. Once you bless him, then that's it. Right. So I knew it was difficult to say no more. How do I tell my husband? If when I was coming on this, she said, what are you going to do? And I know your show is about honesty, right? And I'm comfortable to share all of this because I know you're going to You know, it's even if I'm comfortable.
Thank you.
Because people need to learn.
Right.
People need to know I have no agenda.
Right.
To the extent that I'm not going to get more likes or more views by doing this. I'm already at...
You've done it all.
But I think people need to learn certain things. And I said, okay, you know what? I didn't tell him. But I decided that this is what I was going to do.
Right.
And be open to life. And regardless. I had number 4. When I got pregnant with number 4, because I stopped using contraceptives.
Right.
And the interesting thing, though, is I researched, when I read about all the side effects of contraceptives, even I fear. I know that, you know, for example, the options I had then, you had, I think I was on the coil at that time. There's a coil, there was the injection, there was the pill, which they say is the easiest, right? But you see, even those things, pill is not even 100%. None of them is 100%. The only 100% is abstinence, quite frankly. Nothing is 100%. Anything can happen, you know. Yes. So the coil which I was using, I realized that the way it was then, I don't know what it is like now. What the coil does, it doesn't stop contraception.
Right.
If it doesn't stop conception.
Right.
What it does, if there's a conception, it terminates. Right. I mean, it dissolves, you know. So I'm saying you're taking life, you know. Then the pill, you're not taking life, but you are controlling your hormones and releasing estrogen and progesterone time, not as God has timed it. You throw your hormones to whack.
Out of whack.
9 times out of 10, right? Your body gets used to multiplying cells. That's why you find. And where does this multiply fastest in women? In the breast. There has been research that has shown the connection between breast cancer and oral pills.
Right.
It doesn't mean that everybody that takes oral pills will get it, but your chances are higher. Right. I just say, I won't use that one. The injection, same thing. You're messing with the hormones as God planned it. The easiest thing, abstain. So I said, okay, me, I don't really want many children. I'm going to do the natural one. In fact, to backtrack a little bit, I stopped the coil too because I have a cousin who had a baby that came out with coil in the hand. Yeah. She was her number 5. She had
with the coil in the hand. That is, God is like, this child is coming out.
With the coil in the hand. There are stories like that.
Yes.
With the coil in the hand. So I saw it physically. I know that you have to bow for God.
Yeah.
So I said, okay, God, let us negotiate. That's why I said, let's negotiate. I will beg you, please. Don't give me more than I can take. But you know, somebody told me at that time, one of my spiritual directors said, they didn't know what I was doing. No. But he said, you know what? If you can trust God with your business, why can't you we kneel down and pray. Why can't you trust God with your fertility? Why do you think God will give you more than you can handle? If you're irresponsible, I'm not saying go and be having babies. Why would you? Because God has created a window. Do you get? Otherwise, a woman could get pregnant every time. And there are women who are looking for this thing, they don't get it. So you know that there are sometimes, no matter what you do, you won't get pregnant. Except the Almighty God who created you can decide that even if you are having having sex when you are your period, when it's not fertile, He will give you because He wants that child.
Right.
So the bottom line is to trust God.
God.
Don't be irresponsible. Trust God.